Morning, everyone.
Good morning, Rabbi.
We're in Mishna Yoma, Parak Beis, Chapter 2, Mishnah Beis, Mishnah 2. Okay, so yesterday's Mishnah talked about how when it comes to doing the very first service of the day, which really began the night before, which was the Trumas Hadesh and separating the ash from the altar, that this was done by, and the Kohanim were, how to decide which Kohen did it. So the previous Mishnah said, originally the process was that whoever came forth first would be the one to get it. If there was more than one person, they basically race up the ramp and see who got to the closer to the top first. And if there was a tie in that, then they had to go through the lottery system where they stuck out their fingers and they chose a number and they counted the fingers until they came to that number. Now, Mishnah Beis tells us how the process changed. And once happened, the two people were tied, and they're running up the ramp. And one of them pushed over the other, in order to stop the other one in order to have it that he should get to the top first. He pushed his friend, gave him a shove. The friend fell and broke his leg. Now, it doesn't sound he fell. I don't know if it means he fell off the ramp or he just fell over and he broke his leg. I mean, the ramp was pretty wide, so it's not like he had to fall off the ramp. But he fell, he was pushed, he fell, and he broke his leg. The cave in Sharo, based in Shaboyin L'Dei Sakana. So once the High Court, meaning the Sanhedrin, saw that this was coming to danger, because one day it's a broken leg and another day it's a broken neck, and it's not safe. They instituted that from now on, the way that we decide who is going to take the ash from the altar is with a pious, which means with a lottery. And the lottery system is what we mentioned yesterday, how they put out their fingers. Anytime we talk about lotteries, that's the process. They stood in the circle. The person in charge called out a number larger than the amount of people there. Started from one person, and the count began, counting the fingers, and wherever the number ended, that was the winner. Now, actually, we're going to see in next Mishnah that the one who got the number was the winner for the deshin, for taking the ash. Mm-hmm. Then you actually had more than one. That's the next Mishnah is going to say. Arba payasais hayusham. There were 4 lotteries that took place every morning in the Beis HaMikdash, deciding which Kohen was going to do which part. V'zeh ha'payas harishon. And this one for the ash was the first one. It was just about that one. That pious, this lottery, decided one thing and one thing only. Who is going to separate the ash from the altar? And we're talking about the outside altar, the altar that's in the courtyard, where all the sacrifices were offered, not the one on the inside that the incense was offered on. But the one that was outside, there was one lottery that decided who did that. And wherever the number landed on, he was the winner. It's interesting to note that the bartender brings down, and the notes brings us down, the Kohen did not hold all 4 lotteries at one gathering. Meaning there's 4 lotteries, right? So did they basically hold 4 lotteries at one time and decided everything in one shot? So it says the Kohen did not hold all 4 lotteries at one gathering. Rather, they gathered 4 different times, once for each lottery, because every time the sound of a large crowd assembling in God's temple is heard, God is accorded honor. Meaning, it seems that when they made these lotteries, there were a lot of people involved. I don't know if it means the Kohanim, observers, but it seems that there was a crowd that came together. Anytime a crowd comes together in the Beis HaMikdash, which makes some noise, that means that there are people involved in the service of Hashem. That brings honor to Hashem in the Beis HaMikdash. So instead of doing it one time, they did it 4 separate times. I don't know exactly how they spaced it out, but for the way that the Bartanura says it, the Bartanura says, sounds like there was an announcement made. Before each lottery, there was an announcement made, let's gather together and do the lottery. So instead of doing that once, making one announcement and then making all 4 lotteries, they announced it 4 times. And that way, again, by announcing it 4 times, so it means that each time it would be another gathering of people because they must have had some kind of break in between. So there would be each time that they called out to be a gathering of people, and each time people gather in the Beis Hamikdash, that brings honor to Hashem. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you, Rabbi.
And the next Mishnah is